All right, so get this right. We're diving into something I know you guys have been wanting us to unpack how to absolutely crush it in business while, like, actually feeling happy.
The dream,
Right.
probably.
And we're dissecting some advice from Angeline, calls herself a business archangel.
I like your style already.
Right. She's all about helping leaders tackle those classic business roadblocks. You know, that feeling of being crazy busy, frustrated, or just hitting a wall with like productivity and getting your team fired up.
Oh, 100%. It's like she's been peeking into our brains.
And what's cool is that she's not just about like do this, do that advice. She's got this whole transformative approach. Think online courses, one-on-one virtual sessions, all about getting you clear on your vision, taking action, and like really upping your self-awareness game.
Which, let's be real, is huge.
Yeah,
Because, like, real change, it's not just about checking things off a list. It's about shifting that whole inner dialogue.
for sure. One thing that really stood out to me was Angeline's focus on celebration and resilience. As someone who works with leaders every day, I'm super curious. What does that actually look like on the ground?
It's so key. It's so easy to get stuck in that, like, go, go, go mode, always chasing the next deadline, the next big thing.
Right, you're on that hamster wheel.
Totally. And that's a recipe for burnout. Celebrating wins,
Yeah.
even the small ones, it's like hitting the refresh button. And I've noticed it helps combat that overwhelmed feeling.
Which, speaking of overwhelm, let's unpack her 5 tips for finding that balance between like crushing your goals and actually enjoying the ride. Tip number 1, getting crystal clear on your vision. Sounds simple enough, but why do you think that resonates so much with leaders, especially those feeling that overwhelm?
Okay, imagine this. You're in a boat, middle of the ocean, no map, no compass.
Panicking a little bit?
Exactly, that's what overwhelm can feel like. But having that clear vision, those milestones, that's your compass. It's about having a plan, knowing where you're going, and staying motivated even when things get choppy.
Love that. So it's about clarity, direction, and not getting lost in the chaos.
100%. And that, I think, leads us beautifully into understanding your client's problems.
Angeline's a big believer in empathy in business.
For good reason. You can have the best product in the world, but if it doesn't solve a real problem for someone, it's not going anywhere.
It's about meeting people where they are, right?
Right.
Understanding their pain point.
Exactly. And not assuming you know what those are. I can't tell you how many times I've seen businesses make that mistake.
What's that saying? We judge ourselves by our intentions and others by their actions.
Boom. So true.
It's easy to get caught up in our own heads, right?
The struggle is real. It takes effort to quiet those assumptions and approach each conversation, each interaction with a client as a learning opportunity.
Which brings us to her 3rd tip.
Mhm.
Creating solutions that are impactful and generate income.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know anyone who doesn't love making money, but what's different about Angeline's approach here?
It's about finding that sweet spot, that intersection of passion and profit. You're not just like slapping a Band-Aid on a problem.
Yeah.
You're creating something people actually want and need and will pay for because it's solving a real problem for them.
It's like that whole build it and they will come idea, but like way smarter because you're actually doing your homework first.
100%. Okay, are you ready for tip number 4?
Hit me with it.
Embrace failure.
Oh, that one's always a tough one,
It's
right?
definitely not our natural instinct.
Especially for those of us who like really hate to fail.
But here's the thing. Failure, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. The difference is how we choose to look at it.
So like instead of letting it totally derail us.
Exactly. Instead of that whole shame spiral, what if we approached it with a sense of curiosity? Like, okay, what happened here? What can I learn from this?
It's like turning those moments into little investigations instead of like beating ourselves up.
Yes. When you can do that, failure becomes less about, like, I'm a failure, and more about, I'm learning and growing. And that is so powerful.
Totally. It's like that saying, you know, fall down 7 times, get up 8. It's about resilience, that ability to bounce back and keep going.
And that's what sets successful leaders apart, you know?
For sure. All right, on to our final descent into Angeline's wisdom. Tip number 5, practicing self-care. I feel like this one often gets brushed aside, especially in the business world, you know.
It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and grind and forget that we can't pour from an empty cup.
Preach.
We neglect our well-being, and it's going to show up everywhere, in our work, in our relationships, everywhere.
And Angeline's got some great suggestions here. Exercise, mindfulness, even just like taking time for hobbies. In your work, have you found any self-care practices that really stand out for the leaders you work with, or even for yourself?
That's a good question. Honestly, for me, it's about finding those things that truly light me up. Sometimes it's a walk in nature, or really listening to music that I love, or just spending time with people who make me feel good.
It's interesting how personal self-care is,
Oh,
right?
totally. What works for one person might not work for another.
So true. It's about finding what works for you, what fills your cup.
Exactly. Experiment a little,
Yeah.
Find your own self-care recipe.
I love that. Your self-care routine, just as unique as your business plan.
100%.
Okay, so there you have it, folks. Angeline's 5 tips for hitting those big, audacious goals while, actually enjoying the journey. We talked vision, knowing your clients inside and out, embracing those inevitable setbacks, and of course, prioritizing your own well-being. It's a good reminder that our work life, our personal life, it's all connected, right?
It's all part of the same ecosystem. And what I love about these tips is that they're not just some vague ideas, they're actionable.
Yeah.
No matter where you are in your journey, you can implement these starting today.
Totally. It's not about some massive overnight transformation. It's about those small, consistent actions that add up over time, like those milestones we were talking
Yes,
about.
exactly. Progress, not perfection.
Exactly, 100%. So, listeners, I'm curious, as you're thinking about your own path, your own journey, which one of these 5 tips really speaks to you? What's one small step you can take today to put it into action?
Yeah, that's the real question, isn't it? It's great to have all these ideas, but taking action, that's where the magic happens.
That's where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly. For me, it always comes back to self-care. It's so easy to neglect, especially when we're caught up in the hustle, but it's the foundation for everything else.
It's about filling your own cup first so you can show up as the best version of yourself in all areas of your life.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's a wrap on this deep dive into business growth and personal fulfillment. We hope you walked away with some nuggets of wisdom and, more importantly, some actionable steps to create positive change in your own world.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep striving for that incredible balance in your own life.